All right, so whenever you're ready, brother.
We're in the book of Judges, the 19th chapter, starting at verse 1. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And it came to pass in those days.
Hold on, where Chief Benjamin at? He here?
He right there.
Oh, okay. I'm just checking.
And it came to pass in those days, when there was no king in Israel, that there was a certain Levite sojourning on the farther side of the hill country of Ephraim, who took to him a concubine out of Bethlehem in Yehudah. And his concubine played the harlot against him, and went away from him unto her father's house to Bethlehem in Yehudah, and there was the space of 4 months. And her husband arose and went after her.
What? 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 Hey, yo, Tease, get ready to read.
And her husband
No,
arose.
Hold on. Please. Please. Can we turn to the book of Deuteronomy? Chapter 24, verses 1 to 4. Nah, I'm serious. They just, you know what it is? They silly, man. I be trying to keep it together. They be silly, man. Come on.
Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 1. When a man taketh a wife and marrieth her,
right,
then it comes to pass if she find no favor in his eyes,
whatever,
because he hath found some unseemly thing in her.
Man, listen, adultery seemed like something unseemly to me. Would y'all agree? Yeah. All right, okay, all right.
That he writeth her a bill of divorcement and giveth it in her hand.
Right.
And sendeth her out of his house, and she departeth out of his house, and goeth and become another man's wife, and the latter husband hateth her, and write her a bill of divorcement, and giveth it in her hand, and sendeth her out of his house. Or if the latter husband die, who took her to be his wife, her former husband, who sent her away, may not take her again to be his wife.
You can't go back, man.
After that, she is defiled.
Listen, you can't go back. We're going to go back to Judges. But you can't go back. You know, and now this, look, it's not about y'all. This is in general. You know, and it's a funny thing, because stuff like this is what those 1970s and 1980s love songs was made out of. Y'all want to hear like the song about it? Want to hear it? Here we go. My man said, listen, when a man loves a woman, he can't keep his mind on nothing else. He'll trade the world for the good thing he found. If she is bad, he can't say it. She could do no wrong. That's where we at right now. And it's unfortunate because, like, men, I remember a time when men used to be like men. And this ain't say nothing about women, but I'm just saying, men used to be men. Yeah. And it come a time where, like, once something like that happened, you can't, what y'all got to talk about? No. Like, once you go and you get her back,
that's right.
What is there to say? What's next? But things is different. And these days, people is different. You know, I remember watching Maury. And so it was Maury. He was with his new lady, and he was on there for, what's Maury famous for? Paternity test. He was famous for the paternity. I mean, he was there for the paternity test for the old wife. So came out that he was the father of the paternity test with the old wife, right? So he the father. But then they did a sneak paternity test on a new girl. And he was not the father of the paternity test of the new girl. And so the crowd goes wild, and he's like, oh my goodness. And then he says, but I still love her. And I'm going to take care of the baby anyway. What? Nah. That's not us, man. We need to toughen up sometime. Amen. Listen, I'm sure many people in here know, well, most of us in here probably know what it feels like to lose a girl or a guy. And it's that twisting stomach feeling inside, and you don't want to go outside, and you just want to sit in the house all day and listen to love songs. But after a whirl, he said, sorry to hear that. I was talking from other people. For other people. But, I mean, what I'm saying is, the point of it all is after a while, it go away. And then you find somebody new, and you happy, and y'all live happily ever after. You don't have to deal with that. But anyway, we only got a certain amount of time. We got other pressing issues to talk about, so we're going to go on. Was that to y'all liking?
It was all right.
Thank
And
you.
her husband arose, verse 3, and went after her to speak kindly unto her, to
What
bring
you
her
got
back,
to say?
having
Yeah.
his servant with him and a couple of asses, and she bore him into her father's house. And when the father of the damsel saw him, he rejoiced to meet him. And his father...
Right, because he ready for that. She done back. And the thing that I don't quite understand right now is like, if this is Israel, and the father know that this is what you did, I mean, they would figure that the father would be having a conversation with her like, well, what happened here? But nah, he glad to meet him. Come on in. Let's eat. Let's drink. Whatever it is. Come on.
And his father-in-law, the damsel's father, retained him. And he abode with him 3 days. So they did eat and drink and lodge there.
Told you.
And it came to pass on the 4th day that they rose early in the morning, and he rose up to depart. And the damsel's father said unto his son-in-law, stay thy heart with a morsel of bread, and afterward ye shall go your way. So they sat down and did eat and drink, both of them together. And the damsel's father said unto the man, be content, I pray thee, and tarry all night, and let thy heart be merry. And the man rose up to depart, but his father-in-law urged him, and he lodged there again.
Again.
And he
Come
rose
on.
early in the morning on the 5th day to depart. And the damsel's father said, stay thy heart, I pray thee, and tarry until the day declineth. And they did eat, both of them. And when the man rose up to depart, he and his concubine and his servant, his father-in-law, the damsel's father, said unto him, behold, now the day draweth toward evening. Tarry, I pray you, all night. Behold, the day groweth to an end. Lodge here, that thy heart may be merry, and tomorrow get you early on your way, that thou mayest go home.
Right. So now it's these 4 days. Now it's on the 5th day, because typically what happened is when people traveled, they usually got up early in the morning, and that's how you started to travel, because you could get the most distance out of where you're going, because most of the time people traveled when it's daylight hours, because at nighttime, which you're going to see a little bit later, that's not the time to be traveling. I was actually going to, well, okay. But at nighttime is not the time to be traveling. Same thing in these days and times. But for the most part, you going, it's you, your lady, you have a servant, you have food and all of those different things. Listen, it was robbers and it was pirates and all types of people out there at night just waiting to catch somebody. So that's why the father will wait. Once it was early in the morning, everybody get up, take their shower, and then the father's like, listen, just have a little drink. Stay till the afternoon. So now he drink and he stay. Now it's this evening that he like, look, I gotta go. And the father's like, look, just have a little something else to eat. Why don't you just stay another night? We'll make it, what difference it make? So now the father, but now he's at a point where he's like, no, I need to go. Enough is enough. I done been here like 4 days, and I just want me and the female and everybody, we just need to go. Come on.
Verse 10. But the man would not tarry that night, but he arose up and departed, and came over against Jebus, the same as Jerusalem. And there were with him a couple of asses saddled. His concubine also was with him. When they were by Jebus, the day was far spent. The servant said unto his master, come, I pray thee, and let us turn aside into the city of the Jebusites, and lodge in it. And his master said unto him, we will not turn aside into the city of a foreigner, that is not of the children of Yisrael, but we will pass over to Gibeah.
Right.
And he said unto his servant, come, and let us draw near to one of these places, and we will lodge in Gibeah or in Ramah. So they passed on and went their way, and the sun went down upon them near to Gibeah, which belonged to Benjamin.
Okay.
And they turned aside thither to go in the lodge into Gibeah. And he went in and sat down in the broad place of the city, but there was no man that took them into his house to lodge.
Right. So now, obviously, he didn't want to lodge in with the foreigners, you know. So, but apparently, it was a common practice that when you had travelers and you came to your own people, that what they would do is you would sit in a broad place, And once they saw you and they saw that you had nowhere to go, everybody knew nobody wanted to travel at night. So somebody would come and somebody would take you in. Hospitality of Israel. Hospitality of Abraham. But for some reason, he's in this particular city and nobody want to take him in. And he just sitting there, him and his wife and the servant, and the two animals burdened with the stuff that they had, and so now they just sitting in a broad place. Come on.
Verse 16. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at evening. Now the man was of the hill country of Ephraim, and he sojourned in Gibeah. But the men of the place were Benjamites. And he lifted up his eyes.
So they wasn't foreigners.
And the men of the place were Benjamites.
Okay.
And he lifted up his eyes and saw the wayfaring men in the broad place of the city. And the old man said, Whither goest thou? And whence comest thou? And he said unto him, We are passing from Beit Lechem in Yehuda unto the farther side of the hill country of Ephraim. From thence am I, and I went to Beit Lechem in Yehuda, and I am now going to the house of Jehovah. And there is no man that taketh me into his house. Yet there is both store and provender for our asses, and there is bread and wine also for me, and for thy handmaid, and for the young man that is with thy servants, there is no want of anything.
Right. So he's saying, I don't plan to be a burden to anybody. We have our own stuff. We have our own food. We just need some place to stay for the night. Come on.
And the old man said, Peace be unto thee. Howsoever let all thy wants lie upon me, only lodge not in the broad place.
Right. So now, the first thing, again, it's that hospitality that when you go to somebody's house or when you bring somebody into the house, you know, the hospitality is that you're supposed to come in, let them be comfortable. You know, you're supposed to feed them, give them everything that they need, you know, make them feel good. With that being said, so after we play ball tomorrow, we coming to your house? That's where we going?
Yeah.
We're going to Chief Uziel's house. We're going to have bacalao, some egg salad, all that?
Yes.
Okay.
Had that today.
Listen, hospitality of Abraham, brother. So now he said, don't worry about it. Whatever. He said, look, I got everything. Don't worry about it. But the last thing I need you to do is to stay in this broad place right here. So come with me. So the old man took him into the house.
So he brought him into his house and gave the asses fodder, and they washed their feet and did eat and drink. And they were making their hearts merry. Behold.
Hold on. I just want to clarify one thing. Because I remember when I first came into knowledge itself, when people used to talk about that hospitality of Abraham, and they'd be like, look, you're supposed to bring me into your house, and you're supposed to wash my feet. And no. It don't say that.
That's right.
It say you wash their own feet. I just supply the water.
Right.
You wash your own feet. I ain't washing no man's feet coming into my house, and ain't no man washing my feet coming into no house. I'm just making things perfectly clear. So tomorrow, all I need is the water. I don't need no, look, I'm just saying. All right, let's go.
As they were
Water
making
hose.
their hearts
Whoa.
merry.
He said a water hose in the back. Wow. Hey, yo, so we coming to your house tomorrow after basketball? Come on, let's go.
As they were making their hearts merry.
So
behold.
now, hold on. They eating. So now they done had a meal prepared. They eating. They drinking. So look, how long it take a meal to prepare a meal? Like about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Maybe they had some rice. Maybe they kind of, cooked up something quick. A couple of hours they had some bread. Because bread was a big thing that back then the old man's wife was probably already in the process of making dinner because she knew that her husband had worked all day, and when he came home he was gonna be tired, so he was gonna want to eat. So what they did was you had food, you had a meal, you had the bread, all those different things. So they sitting down, laughing, joking, drinking, having a good time.
And behold, the men of the city, certain base fellows, beset the house round about, beating at the door. And they spoke to the master of the house, the old man, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thy house, that we may know him.
Now, when second time. Now listen, I remember when I first came in, when I first read this, I thought like this was good. Yeah, they look, Lord, ain't that something? You got new people in the neighborhood. The people seen them come in, and they like, look, we want to get to know them. Look, I thought it was good. You know, everybody want to introduce themselves. Everyone to have a good time. That's what I thought. When I read it, and I'm like, this is good. These are some real friendly Benjamites. You know what I'm saying? We might even say gay. You know what I'm saying?
Happy.
Come on. Happy, right, happy. Come on.
And the man, the master of the house, went out unto them and said unto them, Nay, my brethren, I pray you, do not so wickedly, seeing that this man is coming to my house, do not this wanton deed. Behold.
You know, hold on. So, and then I was confused because I'm like, what do they mean?
Right.
Like wanting deeds and this? And then as I read a little further, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible what they try to do. This is terrible. And then I read, and I went back, and I remember then I went back, and it did say that some base fellows came,
base.
you know, and surrounding the house. Hold on. We go.
22.
Yeah, base fellows came and beset the house round about. So, I mean, I didn't understand why they said base, but so now you just got to kind of think about this for a minute.
Right.
So now within the space of an hour, and this goes to what you was talking about this morning, within the space of an hour of them sitting down having a meal, you got all these people plotting and getting this together, new blood. And so many people came that they surrounded the whole house.
Right.
We couldn't go out no window, banging on the door, let them out,
right.
that we might know him. And the old man is like, oh, no, please. Please, but the old man, he knew. And obviously, the other people of the city knew
right.
that this is how this city got down
right.
because nobody else wanted to take him in. And they didn't want to take him in because they ain't want people besetting their house roundabout
right.
in order to be snatching up some man for another man and know a man.
Right.
They knew how them Benjamites got down.
Somebody said they knew how them Benjamites went down. Got down. But I just think this is just terrible. This is just terrible. Come on.
Behold, here is my daughter, a virgin, and his concubine. I will bring them out now and humble you them, and do with them what seemeth good unto you. But unto this man do not so wanton a thing. But the men would not hearken to him.
They didn't want to hear that.
So the
man,
man,
and I know different people. Look, one of the things that I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get out of judging why other people do what they do. Right. I just know that really couldn't have been me. Right. Because I'm not sending my daughter outside. Right. Nah, we just gonna have to broker some type of deal or something, because nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm not sending my daughter outside. I'm definitely not sending my son outside. And listen, so, but anyway, he said, look, here's my daughters, here's his concubine, please, just go. But the men wasn't trying to hear none of that. And if you want a picture of what some of these men look like, just take a look at the parade that they're going to have tomorrow. And just color them a little darker. Because that's exactly what they're doing. And like he said, they took such a nice and wholesome sign as the flag, the rainbow, and they took it and turned it into something just vile and awful and terrible. Come on.
But the men would not hearken to him. So the man laid hold on his concubine and brought her forth unto them, and they knew her and abused her all the night until the morning.
Savages and
When
animals.
the day began to spring, they
and the
let her
crazy
go.
part about this whole thing is that the servants said, we should just stay over with the Jebusites. And he said, nah, man, we ain't staying with no foreigner. I'm going to stay with my people.
Wow. Look at that.
He'd have been better off staying with the foreigners.
Right.
Because this is how his people treated him.
That's how Judah treated Samson.
That is how Judah treated Samson. You're right. I mean,
They
you're right.
ain't know.
When you're right, you're right. But I'm trying to look. I'm trying to keep it. I just want to keep my reader with me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to leave me, so I'm just trying to, I'm trying not to go way left. Y'all know I could go left. especially after what they said about Don last week, but whatever. So anyway, so they knew her all night until the morning. Nasty, nasty, come on.
Then came the woman in the dawning of the day and fell down at the door of the man's house where her Lord was till it was light. And her Lord rose up in the morning and opened the doors of the house and went out to go his way. And behold, the woman, his concubine, was falling down at the door of the house with her hands upon the threshold. And he said unto her, Up, and let us be going. But none answered. Then he took her up upon the ass, and the man rose up and got him unto his place.
You know what kind of gets me is that it's amazing how people can go and they can do the nastiest and the vilest of things and just not have a second thought about it. Not even have a second thought about it. And so now this I mean it's kind of difficult to talk about her because she still is what she is. Right. You know, but I mean, because she is what she is, that doesn't change the nasty that these dudes did. Right. So come on.
Verse 29. And when he was coming to his house, he took a knife and laid hold on his concubine and divided her limb by limb into 12 pieces and sent her throughout all the borders of Israel. And it was so that all that saw it said,
so everybody got it.
Such a thing have not happened nor been seen from the day that the children of Israel came up out of the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider it, take counsel, and speak.
Right. So now, what he did was he recognized and he understood what happened. He cut her up into 12 pieces, and he sent her out. He sent the pieces out with a note to every one of the tribes. And he said, listen, this is what happened. Everybody consider it, and let's decide on how we're going to handle this. Right? Every tribe got a piece. Okay. Come on.
Chapter 20, verse 1. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was assembled as one man, from Dan even to Beer-sheba, with the land of Gilead unto Jehovah at Mitzpah, and the chiefs of all the people, even all the tribes of Yisrael, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of Yah, 400,000 footmen that drew sword.
Hold on. Now, this is where part of the controversy comes in, and it said the books say all the tribes of Israel was there, right? But we fully understand and recognize that all of the tribes of Israel, if they hadn't come, that they had the opportunity to come. Come on.
Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were going up to Mitzpah.
So now, I can also understand where some people might say, well, the Benjamites heard that they had gone up, so that meant they wasn't there. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But let's keep moving.
And the children of Israel said, tell us, how was this wickedness brought to pass?
So, and this is how all trials are supposed to go. Right. You hear the side, you get all of the information, and then you move forward. Come on.
And the Levite, the husband of the woman that was murdered, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belonged to Benjamin, I and my concubine to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me and beset the house round about upon me by night. Me they thought to have slain, and my concubine they forced, and she is dead. And I took my concubine and cut her in pieces and set her throughout all the country of the inheritance of Israel. For they have committed lewdness and wantonness in Israel. Behold, ye are all here. Children of Israel, give here your advice and counsel.
All right. So now, I just want to ask a question. Open up the floor. We always accuse those Benjamites from Gibeah of being homosexuals, right? That's what we always do. But were they really homosexuals in this instance because they didn't really commit a homosexual act? Would anybody tend to agree with that?
No.
Well, I know you wouldn't agree. I know you wouldn't. And I know Morey Yitzhak wouldn't agree either.
Came to the door and said, let us know.
Because
they want to know him.
Right.
That's a good question.
Right.
But you can't really answer a question with a question. So all I'm asking is, were they really homosexuals if they did not commit a homosexual act? They only attempted to commit a homosexual act that didn't go their way.
Their intent was to commit a homosexual act.
Huh? They still had the urge. They wanted them. They didn't want the woman. They wanted somebody with a beard.
Right. Their intent was to have a man.
The thing was known because nobody would take them guys into their house.
Okay. The thing was known. Nobody would take them into the house.
Their intent was there to rape the men.
The intent was there to commit a homosexual act. Anybody else? They was evil anyway.
And they was base fellows.
And they was base. It did say they was base fellows before this. That's true. Anybody else? I'm just asking. Okay. Huh?
He's
I'm just saying. But I'm just saying because that just leads to. I mean, what y'all could do is once I finish, y'all could just have a question and answer period. Y'all can ask them then. But I mean, the reason I asked the question is because then that brings about the ethical conversation about if you attempt to do something and it doesn't follow through, can you be convicted of a crime that you attempted to do and didn't follow through? I heard conspiracy, okay? Attempted murder, but that's not in the Tanakh. Attempted murder not in the Tanakh. I'm with you though. Anybody else? I'm just asking.
Well,
Yes, sir.
you have to do diligent inquiry to find out,
Right?
the type of people that they are.
We know they base fellows.
Yeah,
Okay.
You can't charge them with that crime, but you can definitely, once the inquiry is done, then you charge them with a lesser crime. But, I mean, what they did was still a high crime. You know what I'm saying?
Which was?
Rape.
Okay.
And the
Well-
criminal intent is still there.
Then my next question is, can you rape an adulteress?
Yes. Yes.
Yes? Okay, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Yes?
Rahab was a harlot.
Right. Yes, she was.
And the Most High still worked through her.
Right?
So she's still a life. She's still a human being.
Okay. I'm just asking. And what? No means no. No means no. I agree with that. No means no. Mr. Cosby is about to go on tour to define that over the next couple weeks. Hey. Remember that? Can you believe that? Anyway, come on, let's move. But listen, I don't have it. I was just asking. That's what he said. Serious. He's going on tour to talk to people how to not get raped. You gotta read, you gotta listen to the news. I agree. Let's move on.
Verse 8. And all the people arose as one man, saying, we will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn unto his house. But now this is the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up against it by lot, and we will take 10 men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 out of 10,000, to fetch victuals for the people, that they may do when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the wantonness that they have wrought in Yisrael. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. And the tribes of Yisrael sent men throughout all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, what wickedness is this that thou hast come to pass among you? Now therefore deliver up the men, the base fellows that are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death and put away evil from Israel.
What verse you in?
In the middle of 13.
Okay.
But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice
So
of
now-
their brethren,
so
the
now-
children of Israel.
What happened was, even though they only heard one side, they only heard the Levite side, and even though everybody was upset and they was worked up, what they still did was they went to the Benjamites, and they was like, they didn't go and they didn't just start They went and they asked, and they said, listen, just deliver up the men that did this wanton and nasty act, and we'll have no problems. I mean, maybe they didn't ask in the nicest way, but at this point, who really gonna ask in the nicest way?
Right.
You know? So they went, and now Benjamin refused. Now the question becomes, why would they refuse? Come on.
Verse 14. And the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of their cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel.
And they didn't only refuse, they came out to fight.
Right.
When all the other tribes did was just ask, look, just listen, we don't want no issues. Just send out the people who did the wrong. And this is what happens, putting all jokes aside for a minute, this is the unfortunate thing that happens all the time amongst us, is that people do wrong. And we recognize the wrong things that people do, and they say, yeah, we need judgment for this, and we need all of these different things, and we need to get closer to the Most High God. But what happens is, when you go to somebody to talk about it, to address the issue, then you want to get things like, come on, you ain't never did something like that before? Everybody make mistakes. Come on, man, who are you to judge? Let him that cast sins, he who have no sin cast the first stone. And that's the type of responses that you get. And then they talk about why Israel can't come together and all of these different things, but that's why.
That's exactly why.
This is part of the reason. Because when you go, I mean, we're supposed to be an upright people. The Most High God said that we're supposed to hate certain things. So now if it's sin and nastiness going on, I mean, we can't just sweep that under the rug. We got to talk about that. We need to deal with that, and we need to address that. And the unfortunate part is that there are those of us who, because of your relationship to the issue, you can't see clearly enough to recognize that all we're trying to do is to deal with the wrong.
That's it.
And so what happens is people would much rather take a stance and cause people to go away, or people will much rather take a stance and say, I'm out, rather than accept the wrong that was done and deal with it.
Amen.
And that's the unfortunate part that happens. So when we always talk about coming together, yes, it's easy to come together when you singing and you dancing and you drinking and you doing all those different things. It's easy to come together. But then the hard part is dealing with the issues at hand. And if you can't deal with the issues at hand and still come together, then what? I mean, was the Israelites supposed to just sit back knowing that, you know, you had these vile people in Israel and not do anything? And then this is the thing that as you go into it, you know, giving a preliminary to what's coming later, a lot of people are going to die. Right? A lot of people are going to die. All because you had people that defended wicked people and didn't want to deal with the issue.
Right.
So I ask the questions, how many times do we do that on such a smaller scale?
Mm-hmm.
I know that's my friend. I know that's my son. I know that's my daughter. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And we never going to be able to prosper. We're never going to be able to get closer to God when we can't deal with these issues that come up that everybody recognizes that this is wrong. They raped her. I know, but listen, can't we just talk about this? What is there to talk about? They raped her. Can you explain to me, in the event of a rape, or an event of somebody being a pedophile, or an event of somebody committing adultery, or an event of any of those different things, once we have established that this is what happened, what left is there to talk about?
Right.
Come on.
Verse 15. And the children of Benjamin numbered on that day out of the cities 26,000 men that drew sword, besides the inhabitants of Gibeah, who numbered 700 chosen men. All this people, even 700 chosen men, were left-handed. Everyone could sling stones at a hairbreadth and not miss.
Listen, I know we are we Brooklyn folks, so we can't really understand what's happening here. So the first thing I'm gonna say is, if you watch boxing, one of the things that you know about boxing is left-handed people or southpaw people. They have an advantage because they're very rare. If you playing basketball and you got somebody who shoot with the left hand, it's because it's awkward to you because it's something that you're not used to. So, and because they're so rare, and that's one of the reasons why these guys were just so dangerous. Because they was left-handed, it's awkward to a conventional style. And then listen, they said they could sling a stone at a hair and not miss. It's like, and just, my hand don't even feel right. Just like you standing right there and it's like, and take the hair off and not miss. These were some bad dudes.
Verse 17. And the men of Israel beside Benjamin numbered 400,000 men that drew sword. All these were men of war. And the children of Israel arose and went up to Beit El and asked counsel of God. And they said, who shall go up for us first to battle against the children of Benjamin? And Yahweh said, Judah first. And the children of Israel rose up in the morning and encamped against Gibeah. And the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin. And the men of Israel set the battle in array against them at Gibeah.
So if you notice, what happened was all of those fighters that came out, when they came out to fight, they was all in that same town of Gibeah. They was all in that same town where the incident happened.
Right.
They was all in the same town where the homo thugs came from. They was all in the same town. And that's where they came out to fight from. Come on. So now they asked, who shall go up first? And the Most High said, Judah shall go up first. Like usual, right? Okay.
21. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of the Israelites on that day 22,000 men.
These dudes came out scratching and biting and took them Judites and just, because Judah, I mean, would it be fair to say that that's what they did to the, it said Judah shall go up first, right? So, I mean, I know there was other people, but Judah went up. So they came out scratching and, you know.
You don't think they was using their slings?
I think they came out scratching and biting. If you did the portion, you could have said they was using a sling. I think they came out scratching and biting. That's what I think happened. I remember I was at a boat ride. So we was sitting around waiting for the boat to come. And man, I saw this one dude, he was upset because, and it was actually like, it was probably about 7 or 8 of them. And I mean, he was upset because I guess somebody made a comment to him about him being not so manly. And he was just like, they just don't know. Because I will take him and I will just rip him into little pieces. He just don't know. That's what he said. And I'm watching this, and I can't, I mean, I'm saying it a little, but he mad tough. He looked mad, I mean, I know it's hard to imagine somebody looking tough, doing all like, but he looked mad tough. He made me think twice. I mean, but, just because, I guess just a man that like a man don't mean you can't fight, you just like a man. Come on.
And the men of Israel encouraged themselves and set the battle again in array in the place where they set themselves in array the first day. And the children of Israel went up and wept before Yahweh until even. And they asked of Yahweh, saying, shall I again draw nigh to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? And Yahweh said, go up against them.
Just think about what happened. The first time they said, they asked counsel of God and said, who shall go up? They didn't ask, should we go up? They said, who should go up? Because they had every intention on already going up.
Right.
So now, the second time, now they asking and they're saying, should I again go near the battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother? They still got love for him because we still our brother. And and the point that I want to reiterate is that, listen, just because we have a disagreement and just because we have to exact judgment on an issue, it doesn't mean that I don't love you.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I don't care. It's just that God come first.
Amen.
God always come first. And if I see wrong and don't address wrong, then I have an issue with God. So now is it easier for me to have an issue with you or have an issue with God?
That's right.
Me personally, I take my chances with you every time. Come on.
And the children of Israel came near against the children of Benjamin the second day. And Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah the second day.
22,000 people one day. Come on.
And Benjamin went forth against them out of Gibeah the second day and destroyed down to the ground of the children of Israel again 18,000.
40,000 people. 2 days. Listen, these dudes was tough. These dudes was gangsta. Look, man, listen.
All these drew the sword. Then all the children of Israel and all the people went up and came unto Baal and wept and sat there before Yahweh and fasted that day until even. And they offered burnt offerings and peace offerings before Yahweh. And the children of Israel asked of Yahweh, for the ark of the covenant of Yah was there in those days.
Now we doing things a little bit different. Come on.
And Pinchas the son of Eleazar the son of Aharon stood before him in those days, saying, shall I yet again go out to battle?
Hold on. And I just want to make the point, which, just to reinforce the point that Chief Benjamin said last week, where it makes sense that these last 3 chapters of the book of Judges, 19, 20, and 21, it seems to make sense that these were actually probably closer to the beginning of the book than the end of the book, because you see that they asked for Pinchas, and Pinchas was still around.
Right.
Pinchas was still around at this time. Come on.
And he stood before in those days, saying, shall I yet again go out to battle against the children of Benjamin, my brother, or shall I cease?
Right, because you got to realize now, they done got beat down. You got people, they done came back with all types of scratches and cuts and bite marks and all those different things. It's only but so much scratching somebody going to take.
And Yahweh
40,000 people. Come on.
And Yahweh said, go up, for tomorrow I will deliver him into thy hand.
That's the answer.
And Israel set lies in wait against Gibeah round about.
Right. So now we had to kind of think about this strategically. We need to set up a little plan because, listen, these dudes is tough. Not for nothing. They was what they was, but they was some some of those. Right. And that's probably why nobody else. Look, they done compass houses roundabout all the time. Nobody checked these dudes. Obviously, they ain't checked these dudes because these dudes is tough. Right. Listen, when you read about ancient history and you read about the Greeks and you read about the Romans, listen, they was who they was. Greeks like little boys. Romans like little boys. That ain't stop them from being tough. Right. Because they went through and they conquered everybody. They just like who they like. Come on. Right.
Verse 30. And the children of Israel went up against the children of Benjamin on the 3rd day and set themselves in array against Gibeah, as at other times. And the children of Benjamin went out against the people and were drawn away from the city. And they began to smite and kill of the people as at other times in the field, in the highways, of which one goeth up to Baal and the other to Gibeah, about 30 men of Israel.
Right, so now the same thing is happening. So now these dudes is getting kind of confident. Excuse me. These dudes is getting kind of confident now. Because now they going around, they fighting, and they doing everything that they doing, and now the Israelites are starting to back up, and now they starting to win like they was winning before, like they were doing the past 2 days. Come on.
And the children of Benjamin said, they are smitten down before us as at the first.
Right.
But the children of Israel
and one of the biggest things that they'll tell you, and when you fighting, when you're doing that, whatever, listen, don't get overconfident. Don't get too cocky. I remember, you had people like Muhammad Ali, and when they used to box, and you'll see him, and he do different things, and he might, do one of those. Sugar Ray Leonard used to do it, and then just catch you like this, and then hit you with the other, all that different stuff. And then, unfortunately, now you got boxers these days that try to do stuff like that. Man, I seen a boxer try to he wound up like this, and the dude just caught him, knocked him out. Don't get too overconfident. So that's what happened. These dudes got too overconfident. Come on.
But the children of Israel said, let us flee and draw them away
Right.
from the city unto
Because
the
it's a
highway.
plan. Because this is what they did now. So now you have Gibeah that's in the middle. What the Israelites did, what the rest of them did was, so they came from this side, but what they also did was they set liars in the wait in the back of the city too. So now, the liars in the wait, they just kind of sitting down and they just waiting and they watching. So as the Israelites are fighting the Benjamites, and now the Benjamites, the Israelites are acting like they winning and they starting to back up a little bit. Come on. Now what's going to happen is when you read this portion, the portion is going to kind of double itself. You read about it, and then the next set of verses is going to reiterate it with just a little bit more detail. Come on.
And all the men of Israel rose up out of their place and set themselves in array at Baal Tamar. And the liers in wait of Israel broke forth out of their place, even out of Ma'areh Gibeah. And they came over against Gibeah 10,000 chosen men out of all Israel, and the battle was sore. But they knew not the evil was close upon them.
Okay, come on.
And Jehovah smote Benjamin before Yisrael, and the troops of Israel destroyed of Benjamin that day 25,100 men, and all these withdrew the sword.
Okay, so now, this is what happened. Now, go ahead. Keep going.
So the children of Benjamin saw that they were smitten, and the men of Israel gave place to Benjamin, because they trusted unto the liers in wait, whom they had set against Gibeah. And the liers in wait hastened and rushed upon Gibeah, and the liers in wait drew forth and smote all the city with the edge of the sword. Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait.
So now, this is reiterating again, but what it's telling you is it's telling you the part that it didn't mention earlier, which is once the Israelites that were the liers in wait saw the Israelites starting to retreat back, what they did was they got up from the back, and what they did was they pulled them past the highway, and they got up from the back, and then they came. Now, there's no men left in the city. So now what they did was they came in from the back road and trashed the city, because all of the men was going out of the city, and it was only women and children left in the city. Come on.
Now there was an appointed sign between the men of Israel and the liers in wait, that they should make a great beacon of smoke rise up out of the city. And the men of Israel turned in the battle, and Benjamin began to smite and kill of the men of Israel about 30 persons.
See, so you see it's the same. The Benjamites started to kill people, about 30 people. Same thing like it said earlier. Come on.
Well, they said, surely they are smitten down before us, as in the first battle. But when the beacon began to rise up out of the city in the pillar of smoke, the Benjamites looked behind them, and behold, the whole of the city went up in smoke to heaven. And the men of Israel turned, and the men of Benjamin were amazed, but they saw that evil was come upon them. Therefore they turned their backs before the men of Israel unto the way of the wilderness, but the battle followed hard after them, and they that came out of the city destroyed them in the midst of the men of Israel. They enclosed the Benjamites round about.
Hold on. Now, so what happened is this. The liers in wait that came from the back, they came from the back behind the city, they came and they took the city. So now what they agreed on, what the sign was once the liers in wait who came from behind took the city, they were going to burn the city down, and they were going to send up smoke screens up in the air so that the Israelites at that point who were fighting the Benjamites up here would recognize, okay, now the city is taken, now we could go back because the city is taken. So now what happened is you got the smoke going up from the city, the Benjamites are moving forward fighting, and as soon as they turn around, now they see the smoke from the city, now they know that the city is taken and that they're being burnt. So that the city is being burnt. So now what's happening is now they're looking up in amazement, like now they stopping, like, oh man. The houses, the wives, the children, everybody who we left behind, they I understand some of them might not have cared too much about the wives, but I'm just saying. But so now they like, see, this is why people can't get through a portion in a normal amount of time. But so now they're in amazement, and now they're starting to go back to now they're like just standing around like, and they stop. You read about that law where the Most High God says, when the men are gathered and they're about to go forth to war. And the first question that they ask is, who has betrothed a wife. Whoever has betrothed a wife, you know, let him go back so that you can enjoy your wife that you betrothed, so that before another man lie with her. Because they know that if you in the battle and you thinking about, oh, I wonder what Alicia was doing at home. I wonder if Miriam made those cupcakes like she used to. Then you ain't gonna be thinking about the battle. You're gonna be thinking about, you know, what Miriam is doing at home. You know, and you're not gonna be focused. Right. And what happens is, anybody who's ever been in a situation vaguely resembling this, you know that when you in those types of situations, you depend on everyone headed and to do their part. So if you got 30 people out there and y'all fighting, and you got one dude sitting down thinking like, oh man, I remember the leaks that she used to make when I was back home, then now you got to worry about you and him. Maybe I give y'all a better example. Anybody see Batman vs. Superman? Okay, vaguely. So, do y'all remember the part? It's the same thing, don't worry, I'm not. It's the part where Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, they was all fighting that thing. Whatever it was. Yeah, at the end. I mean, Wonder Woman came in. Ooh, Wonder Woman. She came in and she was... You know, Batman was doing his whatever he was doing thing, and Superman, then all of a sudden, the three of y'all fighting, and then Superman turns and looks. Because he hear with his super hearing that his girlfriend is trapped under a rock under the water. So now, Batman and Wonder Woman is fighting fighting this big thing, and Superman is like, I gotta go. And Superman goes shooting after to go save the girl. And I'm like, and the movie was like, I mean, it wasn't a great movie. It was a decent movie, but I'm sitting and I'm watching it until it come to that part, and I'm like, are you serious right now? like, yeah, right. Like, are you serious right now? I mean, we in the middle of a heated battle, and you, with your superhero, ain't going to save some chick? Not to say that they shouldn't, I'm just saying, but certainly there's a time and place for everything, is all I'm saying. I'm not saying let her drown. I'm not saying let her drown. What I'm saying is, it's a time and place for everything. That's all I'm saying. So now Superman goes and flies under the water to pull a girl from under the rock. Now, and the thing that made me more annoyed was after he pulled her from under the rock and he made sure she was not dead. Because I think she was underwater, if I remember correctly. She was okay. She was underwater. Okay, I said that. She was underwater. And he pulled her from out of the water, right? And then he laid her out of the water.
So he made the right move.
I'm not saying he made the right move or the wrong move. I'm just trying to say what happened. He laid her under the water, so now he did whatever he did, now she's okay.
Right.
Why is he still hugging and kissing her? I mean, you still got to fight to go fight.
Right.
I mean, once you made sure she was okay, won't you use your super speed to shoot her off somewhere to the doctor and then come back to the fight? But I'm just saying, this is, huh?
Let her drown and get with Wonder Woman.
Wow. I'm stuck. I'm a miss and remiss right now. What I'm saying is, once he did his part and he saved her out of the water, then he should have came back to the fight. That's all I'm saying. I can't co-sign nothing else that may or may not have been said. But the point that I'm trying to make is I'm just trying to get y'all to understand what happened. So now the Benjamites were fighting, they saw the smoke go up, and now they just kind of like stuck. And now they starting to, some people running back, some people walking back, because everything that's in front of them is not important anymore. So now they come, and the Israelites just come take over. Man, come on, we gotta
Verse
read.
43. They enclosed the Benjamites round about, and chased them and overtook them at their resting place, as far as over against Gibeah toward the sun rising. And there fell of Benjamin 18,000 men. All these were men of valor. And they turned and fled toward the wilderness into the rock of Rimmon. And they gleaned of them in the highways 5,000 men, and followed hard after them unto Gidon, and smote of them 2,000 men. So that all who fell that day at Benjamin were 20 and 5,000 men that drew the sword. All these were men of valor, but 600 men turned and fled toward the wilderness
So-
unto the rock of Rimmon.
40,000 Israelites plus the 30 Israelites, that's 40,030, plus 25,100 Benjamites, so that's 65,130, right? Right? 65,130 people died because they wouldn't deliver up those wicked and evil people who performed that act.
Wow.
Just think about that. I know we make a lot of jokes, just kind of think about that. Because I know a lot of times, and the biggest part of that is that I know we don't see the severity of certain things when we do it. I get that. I recognize that. But listen, the first thing that we need to understand and realize is if we trying to protect something that God already established shouldn't be protected, then what side of God's law are you on? Come on.
And they abode in the rock of Rimmon 4 months. And the men of Israel turned back upon the children of Benjamin and smote them with the edge of the sword, both the entire city and the cattle, and all that they found. Moreover, all the cities which they found, they set on fire.
So now they came through and burned everything down. 600 people left from the tribe of Benjamin. Come on.
Chapter 21. Now the men of Israel had sworn in Mitzpah, saying, there shall not any of us give his daughter unto Benjamin to wife.
Because they was upset. My daughter, them homo. What you talking about? Nah, I ain't giving, no. I swear, and that's what happened. So they swore. Come on.
And the people came to Baal and sat there to even before God and lifted up their voices and wept sore.
Now
and
they feel bad. Come on.
And they said, O Yehovah, the God of Yisrael, why has this come to pass in Israel that there should be today one tribe lacking in Israel?
Because, they didn't, nobody wanted it to get to that point, but the problem is once you let evil kind of go, and once you kind of support evil, and once you don't get rid of wickedness, you can't stop the steamroll effect that's going to happen, that's going to come from that.
That's right.
That's what happens. We think that we have everything under control and that we can control it, but God don't work like that. One of the things that I really, really think that we need to kind of get and we need to understand is that I know we think we got it all figured out. God don't think like we think. God don't think like we think.
Right.
Listen, just because, look, if that's my son, if it's my daughter, if it's my wife, whatever it is, and you see them as that, you see them as that. God sees them for what they are. And if that means that it's a nasty and a wicked, that's what God sees. That's what God sees. And for us to protect wicked people, just because we love them, I'm telling you, you make a decision, them or God. Whether you recognize that that's the decision that you're making or not, that's the decision you're making. Come on.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the people rose early and built their altar, and offered burnt offerings and peace offerings. And the children of Israel said, who is there among all the tribes of Israel that came not up in the assembly unto Yehovah? But they had made a great oath concerning him that came not up unto Yehovah to Mitzpah, saying, he shall surely be put to death. And the children of Israel repented them for Benjamin, their brother, and said, there is one tribe cut off from Israel this day.
Right. So now they're asking, like, is there anybody that didn't come up? Anybody that didn't come up and was a part of this vow? So that we can find some women, natural order of life, men and women. So that we can find some women for these 600 Benjamites that are left, so that a whole tribe won't be cut off. Sometimes when we get caught up in our own personal petty issues, we lose focus on the bigger picture. Come on.
How shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing we have sworn by Yehovah that we will not give them our daughters to wives? And they said, what one is there of the tribes of Israel that came not up unto Yehovah to Mitzpah? And behold, there came none to the camp from Yabesh Gilead to the assembly. For when the people were numbered, behold, there were none of the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilead there. And the congregation sent thither 12,000 men of the valiantest, and commanded them, saying, go and smite the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilead with the edge of the sword, with the women and the little ones. And this is the thing that ye shall do. Ye shall utterly destroy every male, and every woman that hath lain by man. And they found among the inhabitants of Yabesh Gilead 400 young virgins that had not known man by lying with him, and they brought them unto the camp to Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan.
Right.
And the whole congregation sent and spoke to the children of Benjamin that were in the rock of Rimmon and proclaimed peace unto them.
These last 600 dudes, they was tucked up underneath a rock somewhere, because after what they had just went through, look, they was just tucked up underneath the rock in the back of a cave somewhere. And what they had to do was they had to send people out to them, and they had to tell them, listen, beef is over, we good, this is what the situation is, we know that y'all need wives, this is what we did. Come on.
And Benjamin returned at that time, and they gave them the women whom they had saved the lives of the women of Yabesh Gilead, and yet so they sufficed them not. And the people repented them for Benjamin, because that Yahweh had made a breach in the tribes of Israel.
So now, 400 people got wives, but then there was still 200 people that didn't have wives.
Right.
Come on.
Then the elders of the congregation said, how shall we do for wives for them that remain, seeing the women are destroyed out of Benjamin? And they said, they that are escaped must be as inheritance for Benjamin, that a tribe be not blotted out from Israel. Howbeit, we may not give them wives of our daughters. For the children of Israel had sworn, saying, cursed be he that giveth a wife to Benjamin. And
you see all of the different means that they going through in order to not break that vow before God. Come on.
They said, behold, there is the feast of Yahweh from year to year in Shiloh, which is on the north of Beit El, on the east side of the highway that go up from Beit El to Shechem, and on the south of Lebonah. And they commanded the children of Benjamin, saying, go and lie in wait in the vineyards, and see, and behold, if the daughters of Shiloh come out to dance in the dances, then come ye out of the vineyards, and catch you every man his wife of the daughters of Shiloh, and go to the land of Benjamin. And it shall be, when their fathers or their brethren come to strive with us, that we will say unto them, grant them graciously unto us, because we took not for each man of them his wife in battle, neither did ye give them unto them, that ye should now be guilty.
So now what they saying is, they saying every year they have this feast. And you have the young girls, the young ladies that go out to dance. So when y'all see those ladies, young ladies to go out to dance, just go and, let every man grab a wife and so on and so forth. Now, because, listen, this is real life. So it said when the fathers and the brothers and all of those people come out, because, you ain't going to just come snatching up my Isha or snatching up my daughter or my sister and act like everything is going to be okay. So what they said is, so when those parents, remember that. For all those young men, remember that. Listen, men, fathers, and brothers, don't take kindly to nasty, greasy people putting their hands on their sisters and their daughters. Amen. Just keep that in mind. I'm trying to hurry up, so I ain't going all the way in, but y'all need to understand what I mean. So now what they saying is, so when the fathers and the brothers come out, we going to explain to them, listen, this is what we had to do because the last 200 in the battle and all of those different things, and we going to try to smooth it over so that everything is okay. But, this is what we need to do in order to get wives for this last 200 people. Come on.
And the children of Benjamin did so, and took them wives according to their number of them that danced, whom they carried off, and they went and returned unto their inheritance, and built the cities and dwelt in them. And the children of Israel departed thence at that time, every man to his tribe and to his family, and they went out from thence every man to his inheritance. In those days there was no king in Israel, every man did that which was right in his own eyes. Hallelujah.
Just like the book began, just like it ended.
Yeah, right?
Everybody did right that which his own eyes. All honors, praises, respect, acknowledgement, and thanks I offer unto the great King of the universe, to the God of our fathers, to the God of Abraham, the God of Yitzchak, and the God of Yaakov, thanking him for all things and everything. Shabbat Shalom, Nicole.
Shabbat Shalom.